Yeah. Probably, I guess one of the first ones that comes to mind is we did some work for Wyndham, their vacation rentals division. So at the time, they were actually going to be kind of spinning off and selling their vacation rentals division. So for them, it was really a focus on saying, hey, look, we want to make this as appealing and attractive for sale as possible. So it was really about maximizing what they were already doing more so than it was saying, hey, how do kind of can shove more people into that proverbial funnel. So it was a chance for us to do some technical things to make the process a lot smoother, and then to really enhance the experience on their website. That was a really fun part. They had the tools to do it, but they weren't using them. So we were able to begin a process where we started leveraging those tools to enhance that experience. We were able to reduce their customer acquisition costs, increase the ROI of their ad spend, and we were able to better maximize production costs, right? So when they had ideas and said, hey, we're thinking about making this change, making this update, for example, on the website, we were able to kind of test that and quantify it and say, hey, look, you can make this change, but it's going to have no measurable impact on the experience for the people on the site. So that was an opportunity to have a cost savings, right? Kind of saying, well, look, we're looking to spend this off. If it's not going to help the business, there's no reason to do that. Let's take that off the queue. Let's keep the queue as lean as possible, right? So
Yeah.
to be able to deliver those kinds of results to help them move the business and then help them through that, ultimately yield a successful sale, and a big win for those who are kind of taking the lead in that respect and driving that sale. That was very satisfying, right? Because it was really about saying, yeah, we want to do this, but we don't want to necessarily do this broadly. We have a particular case, from a strategic standpoint we're trying to solve here in terms of what we're trying to do with the organization as a whole. So let's craft and customize what you're able to do around that. So we're able to kind of dismiss certain ideas and prioritize others based on saying, hey, this has a business strategically, this is what they want to accomplish. So let's make
Of
sure what
course.
we're doing is going to support that.
Of course. Of course. And I'm just going to roll two questions into one here. Which two decisions in that project? I mean, I don't know how long ago it was. Hopefully, you remember it in some detail. But maybe what two decisions, or let's go with one. What one or two decisions in that project matter the most, and what do you think would have invalidated the results that you got? If I guess if you see what I'm trying to ask. So, in your experience, because obviously it went very well, but what could have gone wrong, so to speak, and what guardrails kept you honest in that process?
Gotcha. Yeah. I think probably the biggest thing that kind of could have went wrong, right, is if we didn't kind of listen to the client and understand, kind of as I alluded to, what their needs were and what they're trying to accomplish, and kind of just said, well, these are the things that we do out of the box, right? And this is just kind of how we're going to approach it, and kind of pushing them in the wrong direction, right? So ultimately, that still could have yielded what on paper might have been good results, but what practically might not have been best for them. So, for example, we could have done things in the experience that would have just purely enhanced revenue, but it could have enhanced revenue at a higher cost. So it would have had a negative impact on profitability. And when you're trying to sell a company, revenue is a bit of a meaningless number. It's not meaningless completely, right? But it can be misguided, right? You could have kind of no substance to a revenue number, right? You're looking at profitability and how that's driving the organization. So being able to understand, hey, revenue isn't just a factor here. There's a cost factor at play here. That's really important for them because of what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish. If we would have lost sight of that, we could have delivered the results, and that's fine. In the digital world, delivering results is relatively easy, right? That's not the hard part. It's delivering like meaningful results that have substance to them, right? That's the hard part. I mean, I can come to your site and say, yeah, I'm going to, you should do a 75% off sale. That's most assuredly going to increase your sales. It might not increase your profitability, but it'll increase your sales, right? So, I think that was where we always, as an organization on our side, need to make sure that we're listening and we're understanding, again, the needs of the people whom we're talking to on the other side, and saying,
Understood.
how do we adjust ourselves to meet those needs? And that might mean sacrificing a win over here, maybe like a short-term win, for the sake of the long-term win that matters more to our client.